we got another game with you guys. It's like you're a game-making machine, and again, it's a, well, round-based game, and it's Jagged Alliance. It's a new Jagged Alliance. You guys actually had a Kickstarter, and you licensed the license from Bitcomposer, so you're self-publishing again and independent again. So why are you doing that for a game that just got remade?
It's again one of those childhood things. I mean, I played the original Jagged Alliance and I really loved them. They had something that none of the other round-based games really have in the role-playing element of your squads. So you mix the squads up differently and you have different responses. You have banter going on between this guy doesn't like this guy, so they sit and have some things going on between them in a cheesy B-movie kind of way. And that just appealed to me. And I could see over the last years, as we made more and more turn-based strategy games, that nobody was really picking up this old classic. Except that they did Back in Action and some of these other, but they changed some of the core elements that I thought was the heart and soul of Jagged Alliance. So being able to go back now with a game studio in my back and say, hey, I can pick one of my childhood memories up again, not only Space Hulk, but also Jagged Alliance, and redo that the way that I think that they should be done. I just took that opportunity, approached Bitcomposer and see what's possible. And they were like, yeah, that makes sense. Here, try to do what you think is the right thing within the turn-based part. They want to make sure, obviously, that we don't fuck it up, because they already are on that end of the back in action side, but they don't have any involvement as such. They listened to our vision of what it is that we wanted to do, and they said, yeah, fine, that sounds like a great Jagged Alliance game. And us as a small independent, we had to find the funding then for it. Because obviously if we took their money, they would also get some kind of influence on it. And we wanted to stay clear of that and see what's possible. So we did the Kickstarter earlier this year to engage the community, tell them that, yes, this is for real. We really want to go back and do it like in the good old days. A new story, 3D engine, yes, but sticking to the core values of the good old Jagged Alliance 2 with some of the community modifications on top of it. Both to make a cool turn-based strategy game again, but also to give some kind of new framework for the modding community, moving it past what we can do. So here we can enable the modders inside the Unity engine to modify the Jagged Alliance game that we're coming out with, make new content in a totally new way.
So you're talking about the old games, the ones you like to play, but it's not a remake. I mean, we got to clarify that it's a whole new game. Are you guys making a whole new story, whole new characters, or are old characters reintroduced?
It's also reintroducing the old characters. What we wanted to do basically is take that the core tactical combat, the strategy layer, and keeping that as intact as possible from the Jagged Alliance 2, which we see as this is one of the really best structured games on there. But we wanted to swap out the story and try to tell the prequel of how was this entire Jagged Alliance universe founded. So what we have done is went through all the existing characters and checking with their age, with their backstories, who's cool, who's popular, and trying to pull them out and say, okay, why did Shadow become a mercenary? Why didn't he just continue? Why was Ivan? Why did he leave the Russian army, or the Soviet army in that point of view? And then trying to tell some of these backstories up until the founding of the AIM organization, which is the one that's driving the mercenary in Jagged Alliance 1 and 2.
So are you guys involving the community in any of the whole, well, let's say development part? Because you talked about the Kickstarter, obviously, that's obviously big involvement by the community, but for the feedback as well?
Yes, we haven't done super much right now on it because we have had the Space Hulk launch, but we have taken the time between here and having a small pre-production team running. So they have taken a lot of the feedback that we got from the community during the Kickstarter and afterwards. Also, all the people emailing us since then, sit down and boil it into a cool story. They have taken some of the characters, the favorite characters that have been there, and created the pre-production plan of what is Jagged Alliance Flashback going to be. And as we now move from production of Space Hulk into production of Jagged Alliance, we're going to enable and contact and communicate much more with the community about what is this about. The backers that got the early access to the game will be able to very soon, in some months' time, end of the year hopefully, is what we're aiming for, get a vertical slice so that we can ship out 1 or 2 missions, sectors that people can play and give feedback on, so that we can polish up the tactical part and making sure that the community is involved in making the best possible framework for the story and for the modding afterwards.
Well, definitely sounds like you got a plan. Any plan on, well, not release, but sort of, are you planning to be quite done with it?
We're looking at end of next year as like the overall target, so that we have had this 1.5 year total production on Jagged. That would fit perfectly fine with the budgets, with our framework technology and the resources that we have available. So somewhere end of the next year is when we think that we will have a release there. It's very early to say about, is it going to be that date or that date? Is it going to be so many levels or so many levels? Is this character going to be there or this character going to be there? We have the overall structure in place now, though, to take it a step further and dig into the details and actually create the framework and the content of the game.
So you guys get working, I'd say, Jagged Alliance Flashback, and once there is something to show, we might be able to get you guys a little review, but definitely when the game is out in, well, next year, end of next year, we'll be checking back in and having a flashback. Thank you.
Cool, thanks.